Some of these setups are just absolutely phenomenal, and this was one of them yesterday. So, what made yesterday's double top or triple, as it were, I'll show you in a minute, more significant than usual? Let me show you. This is a big master class, by the way. Everybody should have your journals out. If you don't, slap yourself in the mouth. All right, good. Now that your cheeks hurt, here's what I want you to see. This was the pre-market high. Now, a lot of times we can go off of this or previous day high if it was up here. This is a big critical area. So what happened is out of the gate, comes down here, boom, pre-market high. It can't break it. Pulls back, tries again. Pulls back, breaks through, retest, can't hold, down. Do you see how this works? It could not hold the pre-market high. Everybody sold off. Great. Now, if we look at this, of course, big critical level. Where did it go? Bounce. Now look where we're at, and it consolidated for a long time right here. Yesterday in my Robinhood account, I was buying, held. 350 contracts of SPY puts I had yesterday. Knife drop all the way down. Now I ended up selling around here just because I was holding, I think it was close to $90,000 worth of contracts. So I didn't want to be too heavy if it bounced, right? Because this is the bounce zone if it's going to do it really hot, right? So I ended up, making a bunch of money. But the moral of the story of this is, look at this. Okay, so here's 1, 2, 3. If you all look at this, even on the 5-minute. So right here is the first one. This is the second one. All of this is the third one. So 1, 2, 3, triple top. See it? It doesn't matter how many candles are touching it. It could be 800 candles. That's considered one because that's in the same spot. Consolidation is always just one. So I was looking at this one, this popped up here, and because it never broke this pre-market high, right? Touch, 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 perfect area. Isn't this the absolute perfect area? So if we're up here on the top, we put our stops here. In the payoff, if you look at the risk to reward, if you look at the total picture on this chart, your risk is going to be wherever you put your stop. We'll just say up here, okay? Because we saw it pop up here a couple times. So this is your risk. This is your risk. This is your reward. So your risk is very minimal, right? Because you already know if it does decide to pop, you can get out of there. That doesn't even count if it moves beyond the support level here, which it did. Now, hindsight, had I held these, by the way, I looked at it, I would have made $80,000. So what I was going to say here is there is a huge difference between holding your conviction on a good, solid trade versus it's all going against you and you're like, well, I'm going to hold. Coach says hold conviction and it should be fine. Wrong. You're not even in a good trade. Evaluate your trade. 1, 2, 3, stop loss here, absolute payday. Big difference. And here's another good thing too while we're looking at this chart. Flip to a 2-minute just so we can see a little bit more of this. Remember how I always tell you guys when these knife drop and I still get right in there on these scalps? I tell you guys that all the time, right? I always say, well, even if I miss the initial pull, I'll usually, I can get the tail end of that knife drop and I can still make some money, right? So think about it. It was up here. It starts the knife drop. If you get in on this late even and you put in your stop, look at it. Right? And now let's look at the flip side, right? Coach is always talking about support. Buy calls at support. So if you were here, master scalpers, and you're like, well, I think it's going to bounce here, and you bought calls, and you had stops right here, right? Because don't we put our stops just below? You would have stopped out and then you'd be in a put, wouldn't you? Because isn't something below support a put?
Yes, sir.
And then you would have got paid. You're like, oh, damn it, I got burned. Well, this one's pretty easy. Everybody tell me what this is.
Pregnant.
Engulfing candle.
There you go. That's an engulfing candle. See it?
Okay.
What does an engulfing candle represent?
Change of direction.
Bullish
Yep.
reversal.
Reversal.
In this case, a bullish reversal.
Yep, reversal. See it? That is when one candle is larger than the previous. Typically will signify a change of direction. In this case, see where the wick was? Here
Yep.
to here? It's tall.
And then the super trend jumped in. The super trend jumped in, makes it even more convincing.
That's correct. So you had all sorts of goodness.